See, I really don't understand the business of this so-called, what is this Viksit Bharat Shiksha Adhishthan bill. Yeah, somebody from South finds it extremely difficult
to pronounce.
pronounce all these new bills. If you ask me the three criminal bills which have come, maybe Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita I can do it, but others it's very difficult. I feel that the Viksit Bharat, which has been underlined now, is more or less like the Nazi Germany. That is the dream of this government. I recollect reading one of the interviews of Albert Einstein, who had escaped from Germany. He said that if the academic community had withstood the pressure of Nazi party, Germany would not have plunged into this something called psychic distemper. Psychic distemper is something like mental illness. I feel that all these pieces of legislations are intended to make sure that the academic freedom is completely taken away, snatched away. I had prepared a dossier on this actually when after distinguished leaders of this movement spoke to me. But see, few points which I have. Yeah, kiska hai? Yeah. Somebody is not very comfortable with me. That's what I understand. Yeah. See, if you look at the intent of this bill, there is a diabolic game actually. There is a over centralization of this education in Delhi. And few people sitting in Delhi will tell Kerala, which is a model in the form of giving a edge to the education, how we should go about with regard to education. This is a sad plight of the education in this country. And you will have one super regulator eroding the institutional autonomy and encroaching into the powers of the states. Now you know, in the form of the governor, that is inverted comma chancellor, all those universities which are built by the sweat and blood of the states, people of the states, have been virtually hijacked or taken over. In Kerala, we are unable to do anything with the university because chancellor is a stumbling block. So effectively, they have hijacked the higher education now. Now they want to have further concentration of power in Delhi, and this is a ploy to do so. Now all these acts are going to be repealed: UGC Act, AICT, NCT. All these acts are going to be repealed, and this is going to, what is it? VBSA. Fine. Everything is in Viksit Bharat. I don't understand. This is one Viksit Bharat where the Mahatma Gandhi will not have a slot in it.
Yes.
So they find it that even when G. Ramji came there in place of Mandrega, so they made it a point that Mahatma Gandhi has no slot in the proposed Viksit Bharat. That's why his name was deleted. Now, there is a, as my younger sister said, there's a marketization of the higher education that is happening. And that is very pertinent if you read the various clauses. Authoritarian centralization, not only centralization, authoritarian centralization. And dealing in funding, strategic functional separation, and some sort of an algorithmic discipline. These are supposed to be the cardinal principles of this so-called piece of legislation. You know what had happened with regard to NEP, Samagra Shiksha, all this like that. I can tell you one thing. Samagra Shiksha, it's not related to this, but still, since it deals with the arena of education. Samagra Shiksha came in 2018. NEP came in 2020. Then came PM Shri in 2022. Since Kerala didn't implement PM Shri, which came in 2022, we were denied the fund that was due for us on the Samagra Shiksha, which had come in 2018. See how, they scheme the things. How can something which came after that can be bundled or tied with a scheme which came, say, 4 years before? So these are the strange rationale they bring in. Now, you know all what happened with regard to the CUT. The inherent character of a university has been completely eroded with the CUT. I recollect I came to Delhi to be a student of JNU precisely because it is JNU. If it were not to be JNU, I would not have been a student of JNU because there is a character for every university. Somebody would be picking up one particular university because there is a character for such a university. They don't want to have a character for any organization, any institution. This is something which we should, keep it in mind. Now, all these finer points with regard to the VBCA, which there is apex body, three councils, all this and that. But most important thing is that the whole gamut of higher education is going to be dealt at this level. But the representation of the states, that is something which is appalling. See, if you go through the bills, 12 members to the apex commission, the center appoints, and there is a nominal part-time presence of just two for the states. Just two for the states. संजय जी, ये यूनियन ऑफ स्टेट्स है, अभी कहाँ है, मतलब ये फेडरेशन का मतलब क्या है, मुझे मालूम नहीं. So they don't even recognize the concept that there is a federal constitution in this country. And education was in the state list. It's a contribution done by our Congress friends. Anyway, 42nd amendment. Now it is in the concurrent list. But they should at least understand it's part of the concurrent list. So there is a say, there is a way for a state. And with so much of diversity in this country, can you effectively make sure that how should there be a so-called, educational framework in Delhi which is focused without having the involvement, participation of the states? So these are important points to it. Now, there is no linguistic or say regional presence if you look at it. So they don't want to have something like linguistic presence. So when I talk in terms of Hindi, they don't accept the fact that India has got so many languages. Sanjay ji, you're at advantage. At least in Hindi front, you are benefited. Now think about the sad plight of people from South India. We are unable to speak Hindi. कुछ जानते हैं, इसका further जान नहीं सकते. So now the real power of this VBCA rests with the chairman and member secretary. Now, education secretary and three council presidents. Now, UGC also was a flawed affair according to me because the UGC's guidelines were supposed to be guidelines only. I don't know when it became binding. I recollect a couple of Supreme Court verdicts.
No punishment was there.
Earlier, it was supposed to be guidelines for the universities. And there is a clause in the constitution that is clause of repugnancy. If at all a state government passes a legislation, if it clashes with the center's legislation, then center's legislation, the legislation passed by the parliament prevails. Perfect, okay, we accept that. But even something, if a superintendent's office or a clerk's office issue a direction, even that becomes much more superior than the legislation passed by the state government or the state assembly. So this is the position now with regard to the UGC guidelines. But even in that flawed act, not less than half shouldn't be part of the union or the state government. That was the UGC thing. You shouldn't be part of the permanent executive, that is either part of the state government or the central government. But here that has been conveniently, replaced. So what I understand is that this is something which drives all the institutions, the universities, into a single commercial framework. This is the motto of this VBCA. And I don't want to talk about the Accreditation Council, the Standardization Council, the Regulatory Council, etc., because of the paucity of time. But I can tell you one thing: this bill, if it is passed in this form, will hugely detrimental to the cause of the education, which we, of course, cherish. And since it is part of the select committee, even after 1 month, the government hasn't come out with the format of the select committee, who are going to be members of the select committee. If at all we knew who are going to be the select committee members, at least we could have called them here. But trust me, inverted comma, the government will have a brutal majority in the select committee. That is how, because for them, parliamentary scrutiny is something secondary. As you all know, earlier 75% of the bills used to go to the standing committees of the select committees. Now hardly 16-17% of the bills only are referred to the standing committee or select committee. At least in this case, we managed to get it referred to a joint select committee. So at least the stakeholders who are here will be having an opportunity to depose before the select committee, at least on records, for the future purpose. The future generation shouldn't blame us that we didn't fight this bill. At least we could prove to the people that we had our say, even not only in our other agitational formats, but also as part of the parliamentary discourse, we got a chance to present our views like that. So, having said this, I am part of this larger alliance. Now, I always feel that in this country, at this juncture, it shouldn't be compartmentalized. We all need to stand together. Sanjay Singh is from Aam Aadmi Party, from UP, from Delhi. I am from Kerala. But we feel that we need to be together in our fight and resistance, so that this 2047 Viksit Bharat shouldn't reflect the so-called Nazi Germany. Thank you very much.